Okay. I'm here with Alon and Uraeus.
Hello.
Hello.
Alon and Uraeus are two of the OG Op Sparkers.
Yes.
You fellas
Yeah.
go way back, huh?
Way, way back.
Way. So, Alon, why don't you tell us about yourself? Tell us where you're from, how you got to New Orleans, and then how you got to Op Spark kind of dealio.
Yeah. So I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, and I came to New Orleans in 2010 for college. I went to Loyola University, and I was studying math and physics there. But after my second year, 2012, I didn't really know what I wanted to do at the time. I was thinking about doing like a 3-2 program, going to UNO, but afterwards I didn't have any real direction for what my life was going to look like. So I dropped out of school after 2012, and I started doing a bunch of like random things. I worked in door-to-door sales for a while. I was might have even knocked on somebody watching door to sell them a Kirby vacuum. I did marketing stuff, all kind of things. But then my wife, I was dating her at the time, my wife now, Shannon, and she wanted to make sure that I shout her out on this because she really is the reason. She was working for enriched schools.
Yeah. They were our neighbors.
Yeah.
We shared the same kind of, we were at 4.0 schools. That's right. She was working for enriched. And I remember seeing her around the office there with, who's the head of enriched again?
Andre,
yeah.
Yes.
Feigler.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so she found out about y'all, and she knew I was into computers and things. And at the time I had like an HTML book, and I was like going through it page by page. And she told me about Operation Spark. And so then I signed up and I started going to, y'all were with YEP at the time.
Yes.
And I started doing the classes with y'all then.
Yeah. That's it, eh? Like that's going back. I remember you coming around. God, I got so many stories about those times, man. Because we were just starting up, and we had been running some workshops. Like I first started doing the high school stuff, and in summer of 2014 was when I did our first kind of boot camp. You know, it was the first iteration of it, and it was like for 16 to 24-year-olds, and it was in 2015, the year later. Yeah, that was in the summer of 2014.
Yep.
And 2015, around the spring, was when we started up. We started like a little partnership with Hack Reactor to import their program. And that's where you came in and started doing the boot camp at that time. Because we started doing like a preparatory thing. And then, that's right, we were at YEP first. So that's where we did the prep thing. With Melissa Sawyer over at YEP. They were good partners of ours. And Harvey was there too. Remember Harvey?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Well, I got so many stories about those, and I'll come back to it. But let's first introduce Uraeus here. Uraeus, tell us about you, man. Where are you from? And how'd you, okay, I'm not even going to give it away, but where are you from? And how'd you get into OpSpark?
Well, I'm born and raised in New Orleans, but just for a little bit of backstory, I was also just starting college at the time, and I was also kind of like at a crossroads of what I wanted to do as well.
Yeah.
I had a kind of an inkling of what I wanted to do, but the college I went to at the time, which was UNO, they didn't really have a concrete, what's the word for it?
Program for
program for
computer science.
Yeah.
Or anything? Yeah.
So my mom was just randomly watching a report on the news about Operation Spark and how they were getting started with that program. And so my mom, she actually recorded a video of the report and she showed it to me on her little phone device. And she asked if I was interested, and I just said, sure, why not? And kind of the rest is history, I guess. We first met at the building where iSeats is at on Camp Street.
Yeah.
That's where we first met.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing, that's where our office was originally. We were in the IP building, and that's where I got my first a desk. like I was paying, I don't know, $150 to have a desk in a hallway. It was pretty lame. Like people were just, I was like, people were actually going to work, and I was in the hallway, and they were like, "Yep, excuse us," passing me by, and I was like, helping pay rent over there. So, but what's cool is that building, like, the IP building used to be this central kind of hub. It was a really kind of good vibe for developers and the software development scene in New Orleans. There's all these nerds working in the building because Idea Village was in the building, but so was Launchpad, and they were like a kind of co-working space. And then software companies, especially smaller ones, would rent space in the co-working in Launchpad. And then the Captiville was down next to Launchpad, which is a bar. And then Hack Nights was happening at Launchpad on Tuesday nights. And so, everybody, a lot of nerds would just congregate there and have some beers and, write some code and talk shop. And so it was a great way for us to meet a bunch of people. And that's how, I met George Maurer and Steve Price and Max. That's where I met Max. Actually, I met Max at Bar Camp, which was like kind of remember Bar Camp when they did that? It was like a conference for nerds, that kind of grassroots thing. Anyway, he was there presenting. I met him there, but he was also working out of the Captiville and Launchpad. So, but yeah, that's where we met, and we started running boot camp out of there too. Yeah, out of that place. Yeah. And then, so you, I guess that, we did boot camp down at, we were kind of trying to do it in a bunch of different places, but then you got in at Yep.
Yes.
And it was kind of a different format then, where it was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. And we would come in to Yep, and then I don't know, because I don't remember what exactly we were using at the time, but there were all these exercises that we had to go through. And I just really enjoyed it. I had never done anything quite like that before, but it took a lot of interest. And then I remember after that, I started teaching some of the boot camp classes. Right. Yes. Yeah. I was so nervous at that time to teach, but I had gone through the intro, and then I started helping to teach, and then I started teaching the intro classes, and then went through the boot camp across the street from Yep that other bill. I don't even remember what it was. It
was part of Yep, and they bought a few buildings, and kind of their main campus is down there, and they do programming at various age groups, and some of it's workforce development, and then some of it is just kind of tutoring, mentoring of kids, So that building across the street was an old bank, and they bought it up and kind of rehabbed it, and then I was looking for space. We needed space. They rented out the second floor to us for about 8 months, and that's kind of when things started to scale. Like we got a little bit of funding at that time, and we started the partnership with Hack Reactor, and we started just kind of exploding. People were starting to get into the boot camp, and we needed help. I remember we approached you to teach it because you did so well. You had done so well. And we were like, come on, you could, because I was teaching one, and we had 30 other people that wanted to get in it. And that's what happened. And then we're like, well, we can just, why don't we just get Alon to teach it, man? He'll be fine, man. Come on. so it was like, functional programming, recursion. You got it, man. So, but I'll tell you something. That those two cohorts, those two boot camps, that bubbled up into the original two cohorts of the Immersion program.
Yeah.
And so there was maybe 5 in the first one, and maybe 3 or 4 in the second one. And you guys were in those. It was like. We were over at Yep, and when we first started doing it, we were piping in from San Francisco. Like the instructors were in San Francisco. Yep. I remember, and I remember who else? I'm trying to think of who else was in that cohort. I can see.
It was Victor.
Yeah, I remember Victor.
Alice. Keisha. Sam.
Oh yeah, Sam Bowler.
Yeah, Brian.
Brian.
Yeah.
Brian K. Yeah.
And then there's one, I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah.
He moved to Australia, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. What's
He
that
moved.
fella's
What was
name?
his name? I just saw him like about a month ago too. Just
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember. Damn, I'm gonna remember his name.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, when I oh gosh, and then there was Ryan too was in that cohort. The biker guy. I mean bicyclist.
Yeah.
The blonde hair
Yes.
guy, tall guy.
Yeah.
Ryan. Yeah. I haven't seen him around in a while, but he was living down in this neighborhood, and working down this way in where we're at in the Bywater here. Or where are we? We're in the Marigny technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, it was like,
awesome.
and it was funny because like, I remember there was like kids running through the building from time to time because it was a daycare when kids were down there. So yeah,
It was great. You know what I remember though, even before the immersion program, I remember when Ray was talking, because there were times that he wasn't able to make it into the like intro boot camp classes, and his mom, like I will never forget Ray's mom.
Yes.
His mom would literally come to class for him
Yep.
and take notes the whole time to give to him. Like your mom is a real one.
My mom
Like
she probably still has those notes somewhere. I gotta ask her about that next time I see her.
Yeah, she was great and involved too, and she probably wanted to kill me a few times because, we had to, I remember she was just worried that this was something new, this model of learning, and you had kind of left UNO, right, to come over here.
Yeah, I decided to drop out of UNO.
And so I promised her, look, I know Ray can do this and get through this program, and she was worried, but in the end it worked out, right?
Yes,
it worked out.
we got you through, and you got through, man. You got through. I think you came back, because you went through once down then, and then you finally came back to graduate from the program when we were on Columbus Street or Esplanade.
Yeah, Esplanade.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah. And tell us about where you're at now. What are you doing now, man?
Well, right now I'm a software engineer for a company called Cognac Government Services.
Yeah.
Started out as a contractor there, but eventually worked my way up to full time.
Yes, you did.
And I'm still doing pretty well.
Yeah.
over there.
Tell us what kind of stuff are you doing? Like what you're into? You got into some AWS and all that too for a bit, eh? Yeah.
Yes, a little bit of AWS. They're in the middle of migrating some of the stuff from Azure to AWS.
Yeah.
As part of like a different, I guess, development environment, so to speak. But primarily right now, I'm diving into a lot of C#.
Oh, cool. Okay.
.NET.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Way to go. How do you like it?
It has its similarities to JavaScript, but
Yeah.
it's still there's still some differences here and there.
Yeah, it's fully object oriented kind of dealio, class based language, interface, like actual interfaces and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been using it a bit over here with Unity.
Yes.
Again. So I've got my toes back into it a little bit. But how about you, Alon? So you went over to GE first, yeah?
I did, yeah.
And
So
there was a crew with you, like Alice went over there first, or no?
no,
Rose.
there was Rose was there. They were there before me. They were, I think, in the cohort 1 or 2 after me, and then they went to GE before me. Oh no, Kayla was there.
Yeah. Kayla, right?
Yeah, Kayla was there.
Yeah.
But I went out to California for a couple months.
Didn't you go to work for them for Hack Reactor?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. They were piloting the model that we had here, like half virtual, half in person.
Yes.
And so since I just came out of there, then they were like, well, you would be perfect to, do this. And so I went out there for a couple of months, and then I came back. And then I got referred into GE by Ben Schenker.
Yep.
And it was cool because when I went there, they didn't accept people without college degrees.
Yes, this is a good story.
Yeah. And so I was going through, the recruiter was talking to me, and he told me that in the beginning, but he was like, I'm going to see what I can do. And he like really fought.
Yeah.
And they
did.
literally changed the job requirements just so they could hire me.
That's true.
It was amazing.
That's true. In fact, I knew we had a guy on our board, Jeff Serpis, who was their head global VP of VP of global early talent or mentor, or it was like for the talent acquisition kind of stuff and mentoring of talent kind of thing, or talent growth. I forget what they call the title. Anyway, he was awesome, and he told me all about it. And later they sent us the written policy, and it had like, what was it, like bachelor's of computer science or computing boot camp, and they changed it. So they had changed it just to get you on board, man. And I was like, that's awesome.
Yes.
Because it was at the, their global level, man. They changed that policy, that hiring policy. So well done.
It was amazing. And I honestly, because, and this is why I'm so thankful to Operation Spark and to you, John and Max, because I never could have dreamed that I would be in the position that I am today.
Good.
I didn't have the even the grid to know what a career in software looked like. I didn't have the direction or anything, but this program really provided that. And I remember I came in because at that time I was like broke at the time. And I just remember you telling me, hey, if you go through this program, you're going to get a good job with a good salary. And I said, okay, amen. I'm going to do it. So I just I came in and I found a love for software, but I was like, I'm going to just listen to whatever John is saying. I'm going to do everything he tells me to do.
Only all the students were like that, man. Well, I remember actually something, there was a kind of, I noticed a few things about you when you were going through the program originally. Sometimes you just notice some things out of the corner of your eye. You're like, hey, that kid's really getting it. And one of the things I noticed about you early on is that there was a kind of drive that you had that was really unique. I remember seeing we started out, I think you had gone through all of the boot camp exercises on your own a second time. Mm-hmm. The stuff that I remember learning that, and I was like, that's impressive. Because we had got that material from, not the boot camp, some of the boot camp material. We got some of the exercises from Hack Reactor, and then some of the stuff we had created ourselves. And I remember you had gone through it with us. This was after the preparatory course that we did, kind of dealio at YEP. Mm-hmm. And then I remember we went through boot camp, and then there was some time we had to take that cycle off or whatever. I remember coming and talking to you and saying, hey, we got to wait a cycle. And you were like not happy with us, me and Max, because we didn't, the challenge was like Hack Reactor was sort of treating us like everybody else at the time in their partnership. And they ultimately became very good friends of ours and great, amazing supporters, like Sean and Tony, the two guys that I knew there. And there were some other real great advocates of ours over at Hack Reactor in San Francisco, Liz, Penny, and there's a couple others. But ultimately, they threw down and helped us out. When they figured out what we were trying to do down here in New Orleans, they really helped us amazingly. But that curriculum, once we got it, we went through it one time. And then I remember you going through it a second time on your own without any prompting. You just went back and did all of the exercises on your own. And I remember hearing that from you or Max or Harvey or somebody, and I was just like, wow. Not a lot of people do that. Because you didn't have to. You didn't have to repeat. You'd already passed the course. We were putting you into the full-time thing, and you had gone back and just ate that material up again. And I remember another time, this was later in the camp, it was during a lecture with Hack Reactor, and I was just sitting in on the lecture, and it was kind of like a town hall thing. And they were going through exercises, examples of a time complexity. And they were going through, asking the students, okay, take a look at this problem. Take a look at this algorithm. What's going on? What's the time complexity of this? Is it A, B, or C? And I can remember like everyone sitting there kind of looking at it, and I was looking beside at you, and I could see you mouthing to yourself the answer, and you nailed it every time. I was like, Yes, man. This kid is sharp because nobody else was getting it, including all the people in San Francisco. All the Stanford grads that are, were going to reactor or whatever. And here's this kid who is nailing it, and just, it was just natural for you. It seemed like it was just amazing to see that, kind of one of those beautiful mind moments. So I see that sometimes in students where I'm like, okay, this kid's got an engineering mind and something really special. So it was cool to see that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And I remember the same thing. Like I've seen this with a lot of people, like that transition, young people that transition from high school into university. Sometimes when they're really smart or kind of gifted, high school isn't all that challenging. So when you get to university or you get to a program that's rigorous, and the Immersion program is rigorous, fast moving. You got to solve the problem, and you're given some clues and all that kind of stuff, but you got to do it. Yeah. And I think that can be challenging. Like I get the sense that high school was really easy for you.
High school, I would say like freshman year was pretty easy for me. But I would say after like maybe around sophomore onward, but that was because I was having some other health concerns with me at the time.
Yeah,
but for the most part, high school kind of was. Yeah. It was challenging, but not as challenging as, let's say, immersion boot camp where you have to think quick on your feet.
Yeah.
And figure out a problem in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the dealio with the schools and public schools, whatever. It's kind of everyone's in there together, learning. So when you have kind of like some front runners or people that learn in a different way, or they're kind of in that gifted zone where they can, rip through all the school material pretty quickly, and then they're bored.
Yeah.
And then they get into, so that's easy. They're not expecting the challenge when they get into something rigorous. Then it's a different scene.
Yep. Exactly.
So I remember you kind of going through that a little bit with us, but ultimately you nailed it. You came back and you nailed it, and you got through the program. And
once I was able to manage my learning curve, I was fine from there.
Yeah, you just took another swing at it, and that's what's beautiful about it, is that like you came back.
Yeah.
You kept doing it, and you didn't give up, man.
No, I did not like not figuring out problems.
Right.
So that's why I kept. It's like, no, I will complete this. No.
Yes, and you did. And I bet your mom is super proud of you now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very happy.
Well, she's awesome.
Yeah.
So where was it? So we, I remember that, a moment like I had, that realization there that, Alon, you're nailing this stuff, and you really have a gift for this. Where was that moment for you when you were going through the program? Like, was there a moment where stuff started to click and you were like, I really get this. What was that?
So funny enough, the part where I really became confident that I could do it and make it through the program was when y'all threw me into teaching. Because I remember I was trying to understand reduce at the time, and I like couldn't grasp it in my mind for a long time, but then I had to teach it. The day was coming up that I had to teach it. And it was just racking my brain. And so I'm praying. I'm like, God, please help me because I don't want to bomb this. I'm the teacher. Right. And then as I started thinking, I was trying to think of analogies of how to do it. And it was literally on the board as I'm teaching it.
Yep.
It clicked finally.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, I got it. And then I explained the analogy, and then I understood it ever since then. And that was like the moment where I was like, okay, I can really do this, because not only do I understand it, but I'm also teaching it. And then the people who were in those classes that I taught went through the program, and they made it out also.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. In fact, there was a pretty amazing success rate from that era, when you were involved. I can't remember if you continued teaching after that, because you went off. That's right, you went off to you were telling us earlier, you went off to San Francisco for a few months, and then you came back and went and did the GE thing. And what about you, Ray? What was there a moment like when, you really felt like, oh man, I get this. This is clicking.
There's really two moments, and funny enough, one of them involved Ryan.
Oh yeah.
He was helping me through. I want to say it was one of the problems with the credit card from boot camp, if I recall. But that's when I was introduced to the debugger. And I remember like talking through how to go through a debugger, like line by line.
Yep.
And once I made a, it might be a strange comparison to some, but like I really like sports. So what I compared it to was like an instant replay for coding.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's like slow-mo camera.
Yeah, it's like slow-mo instant replay. And Ryan had a very enthusiastic reaction to that. I think he was like, hey, John, he made a pretty good comparison to debugging.
Yes.
So that was definitely the first moment where I'm like, okay, hey, maybe I got something here.
Yeah.
And then the second moment was back through Immersion. This was like the major, I guess, aha moment for me, was when I realized that, when setting up event listeners, that you need to listen for like a trigger made by the user.
Yep.
And I think after that, I kind of really understood the overall architecture of coding.
Yeah.
Each piece of code, like each function or whatever piece of code you create, it's likely listening for a reaction made by the user, whether they're creating input and like any other. The input that they're creating is what the function's listening for to perform an action.
Right. Yeah. Like so that's I'm glad you I like the word you use, architecture. That's the way I think about software. Is that I don't think of it in terms of a mathematical thing. I think of it like architecture, like you're designing a house. Or these systems that kind of talk to each other, kind of dealio. And what you're describing for anyone that's listening that doesn't know, is event-driven architecture. Where you're listening for some kind of input from the user, and then your program responds, kind of knows how to kind of air traffic that, and you have to configure that. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, those were the two moments where I was like, I think I can do this. I think I'll be fine.
Yes. Nice. And do you guys feel, in all your travels of programming, was there a lot of math involved in your work so far? Because even as a game developer, sometimes I got to pull out math and geometry and stuff like that. But no, I'm not, writing an graphic engine or whatever. But, I feel like it's more logic and kind of, it's not math per se. How do you guys describe it?
Same. Yeah. I haven't encountered too many, unless you're doing a specific math problem.
Yeah.
I don't typically encounter that unless you're doing, computer vision and, other AI driven things, but I don't do that in my day to day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. The closest, like this isn't like overall, the closest I've ever gotten like to doing like a math problem is like, I would say maybe the toy problems that we used to do. Like they might have been like one that was math related.
Yeah.
That involved some permutation in it. But other than that,
there's
not much math to it.
No, that's what I feel is more like architecture in a way, or it's like carpentry, but virtual. So Alon, you were telling us about, you went over to GE.
Yes.
And then tell us about that. How was that? That seemed to be a really good team environment over there. Dustin, our buddy Dustin, Gaspard.
Yes.
That was a pretty cool experience, eh?
Yeah, it was. It was because when I came in, I think it was interesting because I hadn't been in like a corporate environment before. And so it was really weird getting used to that, not having someone just watch me all the time and make sure that I'm on my tasks and things. And so I remember my manager was really awesome. His name was Rick. Yeah. And I remember talking to him and saying, okay, so like, what are the like hours? Like, what do I do? How do I navigate this? And he was like, I mean, like 9-ish to 5-ish. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I spent like several months like really like paranoid. But it was really relaxed, and they had snacks in the kitchen and things. Oh, this is the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. But also, everybody there was genuinely nice. Everybody was helpful. You know, they gave me a lot of trust even just coming in. You know, I ended up like leading the front end on a couple projects like right out the gate. Made some mistakes for sure. I remember we picked Angular 2 when it first came out. Like I pushed for that with it was me and just another guy. Thankfully, it was on a small project, but there was no documentation at all for it. So we had to figure it out as we went. But we just hated Polymer. That's what they were pushing across GE to use. And we're like, no, we have to use Angular 2. And they finally gave in to us. Yeah. And it was a big mistake.
Yeah. So without the documentation, you're kind of flying in the dark a little bit. Yeah. Because there's no, without being able to look up the docs, that'd be tough, man. You're basically trying to figure out how this works.
Yes.
Backwards. Yes. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, like in a way, it's a little bit like, I'm trying to think. It's like if you had, it's like getting, you know, it's a little bit like getting the chocolate chip cookie and then someone asking you, how do you make this?
Yes.
That's a little bit like what I would imagine that was the kind of scenario you were in.
It was exactly that.
Yeah, because without the recipe, you don't know. Yeah, you're just kind of backwards, you know. Reverse engineered a little bit, figured out. Wow, that must have been challenging. But good people over there, eh? It was the guy's name was VP over there was Kevin Dawson. He was the fella that ran the site while you guys were there, and he was like a buddy of ours, like good friend to the organization, to OpSpark, and you know they were just so impressed. We ended up getting like 33 people over there.
I remember, yeah. It was packed with OpSpark grads.
Yeah. So they were just very forward thinking, and you know a lot of our grads went over there and got, you know, to cut their teeth on code in a good environment, good structured environment. Like the team environment over there is good agile development and just well managed, man. So Kevin was awesome. And so after that, what'd you do?
So after that, in 2019 in September. I moved over to the company that I'm at right now, Crossover Health.
Okay.
And so it's a healthcare company. They do a lot of like virtual care is the side that I work on, and they also have like in-person clinics on like large tech company like on-site campuses. And so I started there in September. And then I went in and I got moved up pretty quickly to an assistant team lead, like in a couple months, because when I came in, I just saw a lot of things that kind of annoyed me. And so I really wanted to make my life a lot easier. And so I started like for front end code, I'm like, hey, let's just take a before and an after picture. That way I know what you did and I don't have to go through the code base because I don't know the code base. Right. I can target it and say, okay, this is what changed, things like that. And I started giving more input and helping out with just some of the like pointing and different things. And a lot of that stuff also came from GE because they were very well managed. We had a scrum master and all kinds of meetings, which at the time I hated because we were always in meetings. But then I realized when I came to a different environment how much it actually helped me to navigate and think about the software process. And so then after that, they grew and they rolled me off into my own team. And so I was leading a team there, about 5 or 6 developers up until April of this year. I kind of just took a step back just on my own because life was just crazy. I got a baby. Me and my wife are pastoring a church right now. We're building houses and things. It's just a lot going on. And so having to think about all of that stuff at the same time was a lot. And so I took a step back so that I could bring my best work to work as someone who doesn't have to manage and lead things there. But it's been an awesome journey.
Yeah. And you've been over there since 2019?
Yes.
Okay. Good for you, man. Sticking it out, man. That's 5 years you've been at that place.
Yes.
That's a good run, man. That's a good run. Well, they're lucky to have you, I bet.
Thank you.
They're probably pretty happy too. Yeah. And Uraeus, what's next for you, man? Like, What are you nerding out on most right now? Well, you
Ugh.
said .NET and C# before, but yeah.
Yeah, but right now, because just to be brief about the little backstory, right now my IDE that I'm working in, it doesn't support the version of .NET that they're using. They're using a very, very old version
Okay. Oh,
of
wow.
.NET. So yeah. So now I'm developing in a virtual machine now because of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that I can grab a previous version of the IDE that supports their
Yeah.
software.
I thought you were going to say you switched to Vim.
No. But right now, today, I actually ended up diving into SOAP API calls.
Okay.
And I'm using SOAP UI as the postman for monitoring SOAP.
Yeah.
For SOAP API requests, checking out, what to expect
Yep.
and what is needed for data input for
Yeah.
different SOAP API calls.
Yeah. And so is that a free? What is that?
It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. And are you getting out to any of the events in New Orleans? Like you doing any of the? I see you out here sometimes.
Yeah, I do come out for some of the graduation
Yes, you do,
showcase,
man.
'cause some of the apps they show off are
Yeah.
amazing, man.
Yeah. No, it's always good.
Yeah.
It's always good to see you around
Yeah.
here. Mark Stark is another one. They always see him coming out. What about you? Been down to front end party and all that?
I have been going to some front end parties. I haven't been in a while because of some prior engagements,
Yeah.
but I plan on diving back into that within the next few weeks.
Nice. Okay.
And I'm studying for a cybersecurity
Yes.
certification as well.
Nice. Okay.
Still diving through that.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure by the end of the year I should have that cybersecurity certification under my belt as well.
And is Cognac encouraging you to do that?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. There's some
They'll
good
be
people
paying
too,
for-
over
They'll
there.
be paying for the exams and stuff. Yeah. Do you remember Rachel
Yep.
Brandon? She's still over there.
Yeah.
Who else is over there?
Got a few of our grads over there. Eh?
Yeah.
Like geez, who else is over there? There was a couple. There was like a small team of y'all
Yeah,
over there. Yeah. We got 3 other folks over there recently about a year ago, but they're doing QA. They were doing like QA automation type stuff. So yeah, but they've been Cognac's been good buds with us as well. You know, been good people. And hired a bunch of our grads over the years. So yeah. Let's see. And so have you built any side projects on your own recently?
No.
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 You got a few side projects. They're just outside of tech.
Yeah. It's on my mind all the time.
Yeah.
Because I have different ideas. I'm like, I really need to just build this out.
Yeah.
But I just,
Yeah.
no. One of these days, as things slow down, or hopefully they slow down, or
Yeah.
stabilize, I guess, would be better than slow down. Stabilize a bit more. I'll be able to jump into some of that.
Yeah. That's all right. What about you, man?
For me, nothing super recent, but going through the Unity course with you kind of inspired me to go back at my and hack away at my thesis project a little bit more.
Oh yeah, good.
Because it was also a little game type of app that we worked on.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I was thinking about going back in there and hacking away a little bit to see what improvements could be made on the app. So
That's awesome.
that's definitely crossed my mind since the Unity course with you.
Have you done any more Unity? I've been goofing around there a little bit.
A little bit on the side when I can. I've just been super busy with work because they have me on 2 projects now instead of 1. So I'm back and forth between 2 projects.
Nice
That's
juggling
the-
projects.
yeah.
Look at you.
Come on.
That's
awesome.
So let's see. What about the Unity stuff's fun. I have not been doing much of that lately, though I should. I should actually. I've been threatening to do another Unity course, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's gonna be some Unity in our high school program this year, actually. So
Nice.
the kiddies are gonna get up on it, and yeah, man. Let's see what else. So how is your mama?
Mom's doing well.
Yeah,
Chilling.
yeah.
She likes to visit with me and the puppy that I've been having for a few years.
Yeah.
She always says hi and asks how everyone at Spark's doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, she's such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
She is.
And what about you, man? How's your family doing? Everybody good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to get my mom to move down here.
She in St. Louis still?
Yeah, she's in St.
Yeah.
Louis still. Yeah, so hopefully that happens soon.
Do you get home much?
Not too much. No.
Yeah.
No.
I feel you there, man. It's been been a hot minute since I've been able to get back to my land. But yeah, guys. Well, let's see. Where are we at here?
I did finish my degree finally.
That's awesome,
in
dude.
22, I got my computer science degree.
What?
Yeah.
Where from?
Western Governors
Okay.
University. So I just needed to finish it, and it was online, self-paced kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the plan, hopefully, I've been looking every once in a while. I dabble into looking into the Georgia Tech program.
Yeah.
To see, and I know that there are more that are popping up like that.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens.
Well, I know a few people that went up that way to do the Georgia Tech thing. I think even Rose might have. I know she went to do some Masters of Tech or MBA or
she did,
something.
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it was at Georgia Tech, but I could be wrong. I know it was in Atlanta.
I believe it was Georgia Tech because I think she's at Microsoft now. I see her posting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
awesome.
Yeah, man. Well, I dare you. Do it. How's the church coming?
It's good. It's good. We were doing a giant construction process. So after Hurricane Ida, our main sanctuary got messed up, and so we're still not in our main sanctuary. We're fighting with our insurance because insurance is insurance. But we've been in the back area of the church, and we just really felt God leading us to just redo that back area, and so. It was crazy. So we got new floors. The walls are all cinder block, just like this. But we stuccoed the walls so they're flat and nice looking now.
I mean, you guys up in there doing that yourselves?
No, no. We found a contractor and a good contractor too. So that's we know it's hard to find. We got the railing because the building was built in the 50s. So. A lot of things are just original to the building. So we got new railings, we painted the door. So it's just kind of like a brand new back area that we have.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you're doing that. That just, I find that, important and cool. Very cool that you're involved there and that you're doing that on that level. Good for you, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, gents. Well, I'm glad to have sat down with you and just rekindle some of the OG times.
Yes.
Spark.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's just great to see where each of you are now, too. You're just such wonderful people, smarty-pants kids. And I'm just grateful to have spent a little time with you and just get to hear your stories, hear where you've been all this time. So. It's been a while, eh? Like 2016 is when you graduated, right, Alon?
End of 2015, October.
Yeah.
Or no, I think I started October, so maybe December.
Yeah. It was close to December, January or something when you guys first graduated. So.
And I had to leave for California, so I didn't get to do the Ops Spark graduation thing. I think. Yeah. So I never got my hoodie. Actually.
Oh, well, we'll get you one now, man. Yeah, we'll get you one now. And let's see. When did you graduate?
2019.
July
2019.
Oh yeah, we're on Esplanade. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's where that flood took place, man. I was telling you guys about that earlier, where the rubber duckies were floating down the hallways and stuff. Life in New Orleans.
Life in New Orleans. John, I just, I want to just thank you too, because it was what, you took this dream, you left your career, and moved down here, and you've spent your life, this past decade or so, building opportunities in the city of New Orleans for people from disadvantaged backgrounds, and I'm one of them, and me and so many other people are a product of your dream and your vision of seeing so many more people come into tech. And I want you to know I appreciate it so much. I'm forever grateful to have met you and to, to have you walk us through, to support us, to cheer us on, push us further than we thought that we could go. And it's been an amazing ride. And then coming here now, because I haven't been here to this one.
Yeah, you've been to the shop in a little while.
Yeah, I stepped in and I said, man, the come up is real. Because I remember we were in that small room, and and then even across the street, we were in that small room.
Smaller room.
Yeah. and now to see all of this that, you've built obviously with other people alongside is just really amazing. And the work that Operation Spark is doing in the city of New Orleans is amazing, next to none.
I appreciate that, man.
I want to thank you too, John.
Man,
you could have said no so many times, but you kept taking a chance on
me. Man, and I appreciate that, man. No chances, no chances. I told your mom I knew you could get through the program, so there were no chances. I knew it. And I mean, I appreciate all that. There's nothing special about Op Spark except the people that come through the door, and you guys are talented, and that's why you're out there killing it now and having awesome careers. So, but you think about it now, we got over 400 grads out there working, man. So that's they're all,
that's awesome.
Yeah, from the adult program, and that means they're all, most of them are down here in New Orleans, working in the scene down here. So it's been a big win for the New Orleans tech scene and the companies down here getting talent and all that kind of stuff. And that high school program, I tell you though, it's exploded, man. Last year we had over 800 kids engaged across the state. So, and those kids have the option of continuing, spending 2 years with us in high school and then coming right up and doing the adult thing if they want to. So it's really taken off as well. It's funny, people don't often know that we have, they engage with the high school or the adult program. They may not even know we have this whole other, it's almost like we have a high school on top of having the adult program. So Mayuk and his team, our director of high school programs, have just done really well with the program, and especially surviving the pandemic and all that. They've really brought it back online, and just lots of young people across the state are getting to engage with tech in an industrial way, and really inspiring people towards careers in it. So they've been doing a real good job as well. So listen, gents, you're both awesome. So great to see you. And I want you to say hi to Shay and to say hi to your mama.
I will.
and it's been great catching up with you. And I'll ping you when this is online.
Okay.
All right, y'all?
Sounds good.
Yeah, y'all. See you in a bit.